of seeing those points go
and there he
for nothing. And there is the man of the hour at the moment, big Vladimir Kramnik, hyper genius, folks. This man has been indeed one of the greatest players in chess history, a true legend. Garry Kasparov himself flagged him as a future champ. Little did he know that he was going to take his title from him.
Right.
Big match in 2000 when Vladimir actually stopped Garry from winning a single game in that match. Can you imagine Garry Kasparov not beating a player after playing that many games? Yeah. But that's indeed what happened. He also introduced the Berlin defense to modern chess. And there we go. Yeah. We are off, and we're going to watch this game, folks. It should be extremely exciting.
Absolutely. This will be our focus game. After all, MVL, Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, is considered one of the very, very best blitz players in the world. Vladimir Kramnik was a great classical chess player, no question about it. We'll see what kind of form he's in for the blitz portion as Etienne. Bishop f5. Now that is a very strange move in this particular position for this particular move order. I was thinking e7, e5, the Botvinnik pawn triangle formation is so common. It's almost de rigueur, so to speak. But bishop f5, b3. Okay, these players are going in trailblazing different moves here. Queen d7 and bishop h3.
You would think is the point behind bishop f5 in the first place.
To exchange off this.
But instead he just brought his knight into the game.
Okay.
And sooner or later this queen will go to d7 and take advantage of the early bishop leaving in the board. But will he or won't he castle first? It looks like he has castled.
Whoa.
We've heard that Fabiano Caruana and Wesley So have already drawn their game.
Incredible.
That's pretty remarkable, given that Fabi really needs points. We already see an empty table, and the round just started. Incredible. Wesley, I guess, happy with a draw with the black pieces.
Absolutely.
And he will conserve his energy, will Wesley, making sure he puts pressure on his opponents to try to catch him. And once again, we're waiting for a move here by
D2, D4 strikes me as the most consequential. After all, with the double fianchetto of the bishops, you got to open up the position for the bishops. And if you don't play d2, d4, what are you doing with white? I think he was stuck, Maurice, because he wanted to make sure, MVL did, that he had a good answer for the reaction knight e4. Let's see if Big Vlad plays that.
And knight e4 looks really like a good move at the moment.
Most consequent. Yeah.
And instead he's captured directly on d4. Knight takes will be almost automatic. And there we go. Trading. And a second capture on d4
as well.
Queen will take.
Because now the knight on d4 is hitting the bishop on f5. And if there's a purpose to the move bishop f5, it has to be associated now with the move knight e4.
And there's no funny queen sack on g7. You'd like to play this. Sometimes a dynamic sacrifice that wins. But this looks like a lot of trades happening, Yaz.
Exactly.
And no real advantage to white in this position as Big Vlad is showing his skill and his novelty of bishop f5, or at least, maybe not a novelty, but that unorthodox move seems to have borne fruit.
It's strange. I like the small advantages, and the way I do it is I compare the pieces. I think the bishop on g2 is far more effective than the bishop on f5, and the rook coming to d1 will have the half-open file with the pawn on c4. The half-open c-file means it's not so good for black. So I see tiny advantages, and this is the way the grandmasters of today get their victories. They just take those very, very small advantages and they try to milk them as best they can. Now, having said that, how big is white's advantage?
I can't
not
feel
that much. But I do feel that given a choice, I take one.
Sure, given a choice. Given a choice, indeed, you have to play a position. But Vladimir Kramnik has been drawing these kind of positions for decades, in fact.
Sure.
And he's looking at this and saying, what's your plan? But the point you're making, though, is what's your plan, Black? What should you be doing? I'm thinking that Black needs to somehow execute b5, and as soon as I said it,
you're not getting it.
He didn't even make a move to suggest b5.
Right.
And he played a4 to stop it, and now a5 on the board. He's going to set up a dark square blockade. Is black on the queen side and get that c5 square for one of his pieces. Indeed, the bishop on g2 is applying some pressure, but there will be a pawn on b6 quite soon after this rook moves. And there is some space for white. He does have this backward pawn on b3 that you cannot really get at.
The way I would do it if I was white is I put my rook on d4 and I put my queen on d2. What's the idea of the rook on d4 and the queen on d2? Well, I'm intimating that there might be a sudden switch to the king side with rook d4, queen h6, and rook h4. After the move h4, now I think that white's advantage is really petering out. I don't like these last two moves at all. h4 and h5. Okay, well, if I capture that pawn and put the bishop back, well, I
Interesting
think that,
turn of events there.
Yeah, big time. And I'm not a big fan of what Mvl has done. After this move, rook d5, he is inviting the move e6, but maybe the simplest is just to drop back with a bishop. Also, queen d7 starts to get interesting. The queen on c7 is actually wrongly placed. I'd love it to be on the g7 square, so maybe some creepy crawling
Here we go,
moves.
e6. Does he have a sacrifice in him on f5? I would think that's a little bit too ambitious, but rook to b5, insisting on staying in touch on this rank. You're not liking this line? Yes.
Not at all. I'm thinking that Vlad is about to play the move d6, d5, taking advantage of the fact that the queen on c3 is unprotected.
Looks like a great move.
And he's done it.
You suggested it. I liked it.
I like it a lot.
Big Vlad didn't take long to say, I'm playing this move. And this position,
it's starting to feel like black is for choice.
What does white have?
Exactly. Right now, and the worst part about it, black can just play h5, h4, giving that back the pawn so that that double h-pawn can actually become useful.
What about rook d8? Just since he
like rook d8. I also like just isolating the pawn. Take the pawn.
Mean isolating on h4? That's a very good point as well. Did he just do something in the center? What just happened?
I think he took on c4.
He took immediately on c4.
d5 takes c4. But the difference, though, is the clocks, Maurice.
Well, he is down a minute on the clock. Obviously, Maxime has been playing for some time. So Vlad at 1.5 and has to get into the competition.
The rhythm, yeah.
I'm sure he'd been playing a lot of blitz before he came here.
To prep.
But it's nothing like playing against the actual strongest players in the world if you're going to warm up. So whatever preparation he had before now, it's okay, but not necessarily going to get you completely ready for real-time competition. And this move, queen d7, looks unusual. Allowing rook takes on b6 followed by a runaway c-pawn. I'm a little bit surprised by that decision.
No question about it. That's a very dubious decision, in fact. I mean, yeah, you get your pass pawn too after queen takes a4. But I'm thinking this c-pawn is far more dangerous than this a-pawn. So I don't like that decision. I liked everything that Vladimir had done up to that move, queen d7. I would have gone with rook d8. Here's that move, h4, and there's the connection that Vladimir saw. He understood he's giving up a runaway c-pawn, but he now putting his extra kingside pawn to purpose.
Should be auto capture on the square, no? Just take on g3.
I'm not sure
immediately and
because
keep going.
That means that c7 is going to be, well, he's done it. He's allowed queen takes g3 check and c7.
And king to h8, I don't believe his attack.
No, I don't either. I'm thinking this is white all day, all the way. Rook b8 on tap, bishop b7. That rook on c8 is going to have to go.
Yeah, he's getting he's in a whole world of hurt right
Not
now
good.
that he
Not
should
good.
never have allowed the capture on b6. The c-pawn is too strong.
That trade really did not benefit him at all. And he's invited rook b8, has Vladimir. He's just played, okay, so rook b8, queen a7.
He's going to have to challenge that rook on b8. Remember, folks, the queen on g3 is guarding the square b8. It doesn't look like it is, but along that entire long diagonal, the queen is guarding all the way down. So if the rook goes to b8, it is safe to go there because the queen is helping the pawn to guard that rook. So rook b8 is possible, but this queen d4, hoping to be able to get back to a7 and challenge that rook if it goes there. Rook d6 instead has been played.
Surprise move for me.
It is a surprise move, allowing his other rook to be attacked on the b1 square, and now queen c3 check, forcing a trade of queens, and now we have queens off the board. Can he challenge
the bishop b7?
Oh no, bishop b7 is too strong. Now he's dropping an exchange. And
no, maybe he can move the rook. Because
good point.
e5.
Good point. e5 guards c8.
He's made room, but here white could back up with the rook and pick off this pawn on a5.
There is a rook d5, but rook d5 is meant by bishop to e4.
Good point. Bishop e4.
That's
rook a6. Rook a6, sorry.
So rook a6 would be wiser, but you know, if it's just one pawn on c7, I mean, it is obviously a pawn on c7.
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Don't get me wrong.
f3.
But if you could trade off bishops, per se, bishops, and put a rook on c8 and one on e7, you might fashion some sort of defense.
Fortress,
right?
Yeah.
So here, if he could, this is what I was talking about. That's one trade, and after this capture, now play rook e8 and put the rook on e7, or he's just played f6 with the idea of putting the rook to f7.
Similar idea.
And it's very hard to actually make this pawn go anywhere. You need the white king to come into the act, and the black king can also help out as well. So Vladimir has created some kind of defensive fortress. He cannot win the c-pawn by direct means, although maybe he can get his...
Oh, he is inviting... No, rook e5, rook c7.
Rook e5, rook c7, yes.
Sorry.
So this is the difficulty. How does white break this position, break this defensive setup, h5, chasing him back, and now he can just hang out with his rook? Right. How do you win this game?
You don't.
You don't. This is the position where you traded off the light square bishops. That was the key.
Yeah, you can play rook e5 and rook h5 and you can win a pawn, but that's it. You don't go anywhere with it.
And Vladimir getting behind his pass pawn and saying, don't forget, I got a pass pawn here as well. Nepomniachtchi has drawn his game against Rapport, and this I don't think is, he has decided finally to capture, and he said, let's go. You want to trade? Whoa, a little uncertainty there. And wait a minute, this should not be winning.
No.
The rook is going to f5, thankfully, for white. The rook is headed to f5. Right. There it is. And now an offer of a trade. He said, no, can't do, not yet. But do you believe this could possibly be winning?
No. No.
No, you can have the h-pawn. He doesn't care.
It's strange.
He's giving up his h-pawn, and this should be a technical draw, folks. King over, and he's just going to hang out as this is a technical rook and pawn ending that is a draw. Vladimir has drawn these in his sleep. We see Alireza
not
Alireza,
yeah,
not Vladimir.
Not
this is so drawn.
Yeah.
He's like, you can do whatever you like. I am not going to lose this one. I've been drawing these since the 90s.
Right.
Since you were a babe. Maybe before you were even born.
F5. Oh, he missed an opportunity to force a trade of a pawn with the move f5.
Oh, slipping with his piece there. And now f5 played, and now it's time to check. And here comes that white king, but it's not going anywhere. King e7 should stop that. And Levon Aronian has defeated Peter Svidler. I'm sure Almira and Christian will be ready with that shortly. Vladimir fumbling a little bit as he's playing.
I think that shows some rust. I mean, normally there's a beautiful fluid movement of the pieces and the hands.
Well, he's only got 5 seconds left, so much for the fluid movements.
Yeah. He's
got to hurry. Oh, no. What is this?
Rook c7.
Rook c7 and...
King d6, and I'm okay.
Oh, boy. That's dangerous.
Whoa. Am I okay?
That was a dangerous trade to offer in that position for sure. But now...
We were joking that Ali Fallujah could learn a thing or two about these rook and pawn endings from Big Vlad, and
it's his time that he's playing against, though. He's been having only 7 seconds. He can gain time on the clock, but it's only a 2-second increment, and that's been causing him difficulty. It takes a little time to move the chess pieces.
It truly does, and these are triple-weighted sets. So
we're back to this again. This position, no progress so far for White.
Rook to D1.
Just has to make a move. Oh, that's a nice idea. Stay on that pawn, and what does the rook do? And he's going to torture Vlad, is Mvl. He's just going to keep torturing him and torturing him. He's up the pawn, no losing chances for him. Force his opponent to defend and defend. Vlad up to 10 seconds now. Just move the rook.
And he did that very quickly. Now some checks.
And now some checks and another check. And this is just looking so drawn. Rook will someday, the king now coming all the way back to deal with this annoying rook. But that's just can't get the job done. Now he's threatening to cut the king off on the 3rd rank. If he gets to play rook to b3, and the king now says, let me go up, but he could check him again, can't he?
Yes, he can.
Okay, he's taking too long right here.
Yeah,
okay,
I was about to say, rook e1 looks like the safest. What?
Where's that king going? What is this? Rook takes
check.
That's got to be good.
What?
He didn't take it. He didn't want to give king to h5.
And that was nothing. King to h5, rook to b4, king to g6, rook to b6, defending the pawn.
And another attempt with this move, that's a capture.
Of course.
And now the king is headed to the f6 square, but not going to be any good because rook h6 check. Okay, this is the last chance in this type of ending, but
e3.
No, he knows this.
No, what do we say? No.
No, but this has to be a draw. This has to be a draw because of the extra pawn on the board. You're not going to win this position.
Yeah, now he's planning to play e3, f6,
make his
and
own
e2.
threat.
So that means that the king is...
His time is done. He's lost on time.
Oh.
Unbelievable. The hesitation has caused him to lose on the clock.
Yes, he has lost on time.
He has lost on time, no question about it. It's over.
I don't think the arbiter interjected. It happened, and they played a few moves with the
They played a couple of moves. We didn't even spot it ourselves. We were so
focused on the board.
And as was he.
Ooh.
As were the players. And then we noticed the clock at the end, and he lost on time trying to defend that position. That is a tragedy indeed. Let's hear more about this exciting first round from our colleagues in Paris.